Cristiano Ronaldo. Talk about all of that this morning on Sports Bank, and not just that, we have stories from Formula One. Schumacher is inside Formula One this for next season. Well, it is not Michael Schumacher; it is his son Mick Schumacher who will be competing in Formula One next season. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about basketball as well this morning. Some stories. Good news maybe for fans of LA Lakers and LeBron James, and of course something as well from the world of boxing. So much to look forward to this morning on Sports Bank on Splash 105.5 FM. This is the Integrity Station, and my name is Blessing Fowowe. First off, I have to introduce Faith Adedeji this morning because I need to know how your night went. Did you sleep well?
Yeah, of course I did. Good morning, Blessing. Good morning, Feromi, and of course our revered listener as well. It's another Thursday morning, and it means it's a beautiful time to be on Sports Bank. Another, bumper package. You've reeled out so many things we will be talking about this morning. Maybe, Formula One is what is catching my attention this morning. The other time it was golf that was catching my attention. So, there's a way all these things, tend to catch my attention.
Football doesn't catch your attention at this point?
No, all the time. It doesn't have to be football all the time. Maybe that is something we need to begin to look at in Nigeria as well. There's this too much focus or excessive focus on football. Maybe we need to begin to look at other sports, and maybe when we go into the Olympic Games, I'll begin to do better. I'll begin to rack in more medals if we're beginning to look at, some less fancied sports. So maybe Formula One it is for me this morning. Always good to be on Sports.
Okay, we have something for you.
We've always retreated on this show that we only have winners. Either win or win.
Exactly. We make winners of people here.
Can I continue? What is catching my attention is definitely NBA, definitely basketball for me. I think it's buzzing at this point in time. Trade really getting interesting at this point in time. Lakers looks like they've gotten themselves a fantastic, I would say a fantastic one to be able to actually make LeBron extend his contract right there. And of course, with the kind of players these guys are actually recruiting and what they have on ground, man, I won't be surprised if it did go all the way again this time around. And of course, probably it might just be a back-to-back win for them. But hey, time will definitely tell.
Time indeed will tell. But let's start off with Formula One, where Faith says that's the sport that is catching his fancy this morning. Mick Schumacher, the son of seven-time Formula One world champion Michael, will race for the Ace team next season. The US-based team said the 21-year-old has signed a multi-year contract. He will partner Russian Nikita Mazepin. The German Schumacher said the move was a dream come true, a dream I have been chasing since I was 3 years old. Ferrari, with whom he has a long-term contract, said the eventual aim was for him to drive for them in Formula One one day. The Schumacher will be at Ace for at least the next 2 seasons. Ferrari have signed a Spaniard Carlos Sainz for the 2021 and 2022 season to partner Charles Leclerc, who has a contract with the Scuderia until 2024. Now, his team boss Gunther Steiner said Schumacher had earned the opportunity with his performances in Formula 2, in which he is leading the championship going into its final round in Bahrain this weekend. I can imagine this moment being a very, very big moment for someone like Mick Schumacher. But I also look at it with the aspect of not having your father there at the point where it could perhaps be the guy that you need going into a new phase.
Yeah, definitely. It's so unfortunate that Schumacher has not been in public for quite some time because of the accident he had, while skiing. It will be
almost about 4 years now.
Is it 4 or 5 years or so? So we've not seen him. He had this kind, accident, and it was very terrible. But one thing we know is that he's somewhere safe. But for Mick Schumacher, when rivals hear the name Schumacher, definitely it begins to drive down cold shivers, down their spine, because we remember all what the father was able to do. He won 91 races. For you to win 91 races, of course, Hamilton has set a new record this year. But that is impeccable. That is something that you need to continue to laud. It's something that we need to appreciate whenever. And he also won 7 championships. That is this Michael did so well in the world of Formula One. But there's this maybe I'm being too cautious, but sometimes We've seen it in sports where the son will not be able to rise up to the plate, or would not be able to maybe match up with the success that the father has been able
maybe
to
having
achieve.
a big shoe too big to fill.
Too big to fill. It can give you an extra pressure. There's always this, extra pressure. It could also be an extra motivation. There are two sides to it. There could be the positives. You have a very good gene already, and everyone knows that. Well, you have a winning, spirit. You've also had this. Mick has been in a Formula One car as far back as year one, as 1 year old. So this man has been made for this sport. So maybe you'll be able to do well. But then you also look at someone like Johan Cruyff. Maybe many people wouldn't even remember that his son played football. Johan Cruyff was so great, or he remains so great. Ajax, Barcelona, he remains a legend for them. But his son played football, but he played at Barcelona.
He couldn't match up as well.
He played for about 2 or 3 seasons at Barcelona, played at Manchester United, but he didn't match up. So those are some of those things. Then we can also look at the other side where the father didn't do so well and then the son did so well. That can come in the case of Kobe Bryant. His father, Joe Bryant, played in the NBA, but not as exceptional.
Steph Curry's father as well, Dale Curry.
Steph Curry as well. Now we have Steph and Seth as well doing well in NBA. So those are, the two sides to it. It depends on the one that Mick would decide to, choose from or decide to follow through. But I hope it does well. I hope we'll have another Schumacher that will dominate the sport for a long time.
And also sets history in the make history rather in the process. Well, Schumacher's F1 debut next year will come on the 30th anniversary of his father's own entry into the sport. That was at the 1991 Belgian Grand Prix. And yes, he said he has chosen the number 47 as his race number in Formula One because of a funny mix of things. He said 4 was the number he carried when he won the European Formula 3 Championship in 2018, and 7 is a number that is very close to him, partly because it is the number of championship that his father has won, and then 47 is a number reached when you add up the birthdays of all the members of his family. What a reason there. But all the best to Mick Schumacher as he make his debut in Formula One next season. Away from that, into basketball straight off. Well, good news for fans of LA Lakers. LeBron James has agreed a new 2-year, $85 million contract extension. That's with the Los Angeles Lakers, according to reports. James became a 4-time NBA champion and 4-time NBA Finals MVP last season as the Lakers defeated Miami Heat with a decisive Game 6 victory. The 35-year-old, who turns 36 later this month, is heading into his 18th season in the NBA and 3rd in Lakers, having won his previous 3 titles during his time with the Cleveland Cavaliers and Miami Heat. And in the same vein, Kevin Durant says he's feeling solid as he's eyeing Brooklyn Nets debut after his return from injury. He's back from injury. He wants to get going. He wants to start. And somewhere as well, there's Luka Doncic who says he wants to win championships. Fermi.
Interesting moments right there in the NBA. Of course, like you rightly said, starting from LA Lakers, I think this is a very fantastic one, for Lakers and even for LeBron himself, extending his contract right there, $85 million. That's something really.
Trading. I need to stop
deceiving yourself. Come on. I mean, that's really.
Don't write him off. He can make it.
He can make it.
I've been thinking about it myself. I mean,
it's not over $41 million, and of course, in 2022-2023, he will be earning over $44 million right there in the NBA. I mean, this is a very fantastic one for me. Despite the fact that they're having troubles now with coronavirus, and the kind of money that they are making has actually reduced drastically to what they've been able to make so far. I still think they would still be able to fancy their chances in winning the championship with the new additions that they've been able to bring on board this time around, especially from this guy coming from exactly, and of course this guy coming from Clippers that was signed a couple of weeks ago. And according to reports, there were rumors that, don't be surprised, Chris Paul might just be on his way to Lakers right there. So I think
that
interesting
would be a
moment.
killer team.
I mean, it's gonna be a killer.
Indeed.
Even without Chris Paul, it's already a killer team. Now with the addition of Chris Paul, only themselves.
is also on his way to
Away from basketball, straight into tennis. The WTA, that's the Women's Tennis Association, will rename its tournament categories for next season to align with the men's ATP as a sign of further collaboration between the tours following a season that was severely disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The global health crisis decimated the 2020 tennis calendar and prompted calls for a merger of the governing bodies, a suggestion that was well received by both the WTA and the ATP. MVP. But the question is, will a merger be an easy task? Well, I can't wait to find out what that will be eventually. But for many of the players, I'm very sure they will welcome this development. Away from that, into boxing. Well, up to 1,000 fans will be able to attend World Heavyweight Champion Anthony Joshua's fight against Bulgarian Kubrat Pulev on the 12th of December. That's at the Wembley Arena. A limited number of fans can now attend live sport in England following the relaxation of coronavirus restrictions. The local authorities in London have approved the crowd and safety measures, and guidelines will be in place. Well, Joshua will defend his IBF, WBO, WBA, WBO, and IBO world titles against mandatory challenger Pulev. They were due to fight in June, but it was postponed because of the coronavirus pandemic. But I'm wondering, I mean, this should be some sort of boost for both men. But who do you think perhaps will get boosted the most?
Well, I think it has to be, maybe AJ, definitely, because he would be, he would have the advantage because he would be fighting at home. But, these things, the most important thing is that we are beginning to see fans in sports. Yesterday we had our fans coming to some championship games. So you say that
Leeds United level with PSG, and RB Leipzig on 9 points in Group H, and knowing they need a draw away to the German side next Tuesday to progress to the last 16. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he possibly should have substituted Fred before the Brazilian was sent off. So remember, that's what we're asking on our Facebook page. I mean, take a bite on that. Who do you think is at fault, and do you think United can find a way back in this one? This is the BBC Premier League update. Return, and the guys will take a bite as well on that.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Paul Serres at the BBC Sports Centre. It was a busy night in the Champions League with mixed fortunes for the Premier League sides involved. Chelsea beat Europa League champion Sevilla 4-0 in Spain, with French international striker Olivier Giroud scoring all 4 goals. Both sides had already qualified for the knockout stages of the competition. A Neymar-inspired Paris Saint-Germain beat Manchester United at Old Trafford to move level on points with their opponents and RB Leipzig at the top of Group H. United travel to Germany to take on Leipzig next week, while PSG welcome Turkish champions Istanbul Başakşehir. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta says he's in favour of temporary substitutions. David Luiz played on until half-time after his clash of heads with Raul Jimenez, which left the Wolves forward with a fractured skull. Arteta says they followed all the protocols and that Luiz was fine to continue, but he says that in similar situations it would be good to have a bit of extra time.
You have to make a decision in 1 minute. You know, when someone is bleeding, when you have a massive concussion next to you with somebody his life is under threat. And maybe it's a moment that we can think that maybe we can give these people a little bit more time and use a temporary substitution, for example.
And the Tottenham manager Jose Mourinho fully agrees with the idea.
Of course, a substitution for a concussion would probably make decisions for coaches easier. But honestly, for me, the crucial point is to have a doctor that you fully trust.
Arteta also said that Luiz could play in the North London derby on Sunday if he's comfortable heading the ball. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
You see, I like the fact that this song does not relate to Arsenal today. It's just relating to Manchester United. I mean, let's talk about that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he said he wished he had taken out Fred half-time after he got that yellow card, but eventually got a red card. So who do you blame on this?
it's not paid to wish, that's not he wishes to horses. Those are the slim margins that determine the Champions League when you don't make the right decision. separate the best from the rest, and that was where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, fell short last night. But he still has another crack at it next week, going away to Germany.
So it is not all doom and gloom yet.
No, it's not all doom and gloom. All you need is a draw.
I mean, that's what you get when you have a coach that is tactically less privileged. He could have actually